To record. Now, everybody gets a message. Recording in progress. Absolutely, everybody. Hello, hello, everyone.
Hi, Carla.
Hello, hello. Well, we're going to get started on time here, so I am going to hit this live button so that we are sending live as we're letting everybody in. Thanks to my helpers here that always do that. That's so sweet. And
Good morning.
good
Good
morning. Good
morning.
morning.
Hi.
Wonderful. Oh, I
Good
forgot
morning.
one. Good morning.
Thank you for hosting.
You're welcome.
We're so happy to have you back. Okay, I am.
Aw. There we go. I had to put a title in there. Gotcha. Wonderful. Well, while we're sitting here and waiting, why don't people just say where they're calling in from? It's always fun to start that way. It just kind of makes you feel like we're at home again. So,
White Oak, Texas.
hey, Texas,
Elko, Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Somewhere between Minnesota and
Mark
Minneapolis and
says
Iowa.
the webinar will be recorded and shared.
Wonderful. We've got people that need to mute.
Guero, Texas.
Ontario, Canada.
Gogi Charles from Denmark.
Baden, Switzerland.
Welcome.
You have to make it more personal.
Portugal, Carla.
Hello, hello.
I know, right? That operative word. Okay, so Eric, I just got.
Hang on, we got to mute some people in the background. We'll let everybody's able to still unmute at the moment. I will be muting everybody in just a bit, but it's still. Come on.
Carla, you muted.
Yep, I got it. Go ahead and unmute if you want to say where
Very
you're
good.
from.
Houston, Texas.
Is that in Houston? I heard Lydia.
What does that mean? Some more dates.
Okay, exciting. Wonderful. Okay, well, I think it's about time for us to get started here. So let's start by muting everybody as we go, because otherwise we get a lot of background noise. So there we go. Let's get started and welcome everybody on our weekly call. Good to see you. Every week we try to find some great, motivating, inspiring training that you can use for your business. And one of the things that I think people really grab onto and can use in this business is the stories. They say facts tell, but stories sell. Well, this is a story today that you're going to want to hear. And it's kind of a funny story that he is now a Zinzino partner because I heard him years ago. I don't even know how long ago it was. But I remember his story so clearly because I heard him as a speaker at one of Art Jonak's mastermind events, and I was just in awe. I just loved this. And here, a while back here, sometime in last year, having an event in Minnesota, here are two people that I don't know at the event. And at some point, one of them stands up and is going to come over and greet me. And I knew instantly who that was. And it had been years, but I knew exactly who it was because his story had made such an impact in me. And direct sales can be life-changing, But I want you to hear not only his story, but some of his greatest tips and how he ended up here in Zinzino. And within his first, I think it was, I don't even know how many days, you could count his days to get to our president title of Zinzino. So let's bring him on here, the fantastic, wonderful president, Andy Dooley. Hey, Andy.
Hey, Carla. Hey, everybody. Good to see everybody here. Hi, great to be here. And Carla, by the way, a lot of time in the making, not a few days. It's a long journey, but grateful to be here for
Okay,
sure.
then let's talk about the journey because from when you were able to finally enter as a partner of Zinzino, it was only days till you hit. I mean, within short period of time. I mean, like I don't know, 40 something days or whatever it was. It was very little. And a lot of people see that as a short period of time, but it, as you said, it's a short period of time in Zinzino, but the journey has been a lot longer and has had started even before you ended up in the US. So let's just tell a little bit of your complete background story because that's actually what I remember the first time I heard your story. So would you tell just a little bit about where you came from?
Yeah, Carla. So, born and raised in Albania, grew up during communism, family of five, two-bedroom apartment, and we had running water a few hours a day, power a few hours a day. And as a kid growing up, a few people could leave the country. You were not allowed to. If the government caught you, they would have killed you basically. So, as a kid growing up in Albania, in that family where we didn't even have the basic necessities. I had a dream, and I remember promising myself that someday I will leave this country and I will have a better life. And that actually came, I remember trying to buy milk for my little sister and being in line. I was 10, 11, 12 years old, and no more milk. I go home. Mom and dad were at work. We had no food to feed my little sister. And that day, she cried. I cried. I said, no more. And age 18, I turned 18. I begged my parents, please send me there. And everything my mom and dad had, they put it towards me to come to the States. Where I come from, even to this day, people say if I can just make it to America or if I can just leave this country. So 18 years old, I knew about 50 words of English. I had a few $100s, small suitcase, everything I owned in my small carry-on, and I flew to flew to US.
It
But
sounds like it seriously sounds like a movie. That it doesn't sound like that could be real. But it must have given you this. I mean, you developed a grit when you had a dream and you went through what you went through. I mean, sometimes I think it's people who have the hardest backgrounds that end up as the strongest people because of what they've been through. You know, that the muscle that you're using is the one that hurts, but it's also the one that gets strongest. And I think because of that past, you actually were a stronger person already then with your desire to really have success. So, okay, so you end up in the United States with hardly anything and hardly able to speak English. So what did you do? How could you survive? What did you do at that point?
I went to the dorms. Back then it was University of Central Oklahoma. Landed there. I went to a language institute. I was there for a couple months. I could not register in school as an international student. I had to pass certain tests. At that time was called TOEFL. So I studied English for a couple months. I passed the written test. It took me that long. And then I just registered. I registered in college. But because of the broken English and I had two jobs trying to support myself, I didn't really, like school that much. After 3.5 years, I was still a freshman. My GPA was 1.6. Both my parents are educated, master degrees, and they pushed education on me. I got a letter from college that said I was put on academic probation. And I was on probation to raise my GPA to 2.0. I did not have enough faith in myself at the time to raise my GPA to 2.0, so I quit college. At this time, I'm delivering
After
pizzas.
3.5 years, some people finish their education in 3.5 years, Andy. What's going on?
No, I'm telling you, yes. Some people say, man, I wish I had this education. I wish I were born on this side of the track. I wish I had this. I wish I had that. And they give me different challenges. Gosh, I was born on the wrong side of the world. I never finished college. I got in this business as a pizza delivery driver.
Okay,
After
now you're jumping here because you quit college.
quit college, yeah.
And so no, uh, and so you go from college, having parents as this background degrees. They still didn't have a lot of money in Albania, but yet you quit college and then you end up as a pizza delivery guy. What?
Yeah, so I was actually delivering pizzas through college. Well, I started as a cook for Pizza Hut. Next time you guys see Pizza Hut, think of me. And then I had a second job at Brahms Ice Cream Place in the Midwest in US, flipping burgers. And then it took me 18 months to save 1,400 dollars to buy my very first car, and that helped me become a pizza delivery driver. You make a bit more money as a delivery driver, some extra tips. And I met,
Woohoo! I'm sorry. It's just
yay,
like, what?
yeah. I was the guy that would knock on somebody's door for $2, $3 tip with a big smile. And I met Shannon in college 25 years ago. She became a school teacher, second,
Okay, so
third grade.
you met her before you had quit then. So
Yeah. Well, yeah.
okay.
So with Shannon, that last year, I think the only class I may have made a B in college was one I took with Shannon. She helped me. Yeah. But
Kind of
everything,
helped you and you had a little motivation there. And
right?
that's where you meet your wife. I love it. I love it. Okay. So so you meet your wife and you're in college and in class, you had this B, but then you drop out and go through these different struggler jobs, and then you end up as a pizza delivery where you're working for those tips when you're driving around. This is your story is quite incredible. It's Andy. Okay, so now we got to pizza delivery. Now what happens? How do you go from pizza delivery guy with a girlfriend to getting into direct sales? Where is the connection here?
So with Shannon, actually, I tried school for 3 more semesters and flunked every semester. And she's like, "Honey, why don't you just quit? You don't like it, not for you." I had that psychological pressure from my parents, and it's so easy for people in life to do something that's not of their heart.
Mm.
They're trying to please somebody, whether it's a family member. Sometimes we allow psychological pressures from friends, from our inner circle, where we don't follow our own path. And I've always believed that if the voice inside of you, your own voice, your dreams, your calling is bigger and stronger than the voice of the world, you have matured, you have grown up, and that's where freedom lies. So, battling my parents, psychological pressure. We paid for year one, year three. You got to continue. You cannot amount much without a college degree. And that belief carried me. That belief drove my behavior. That belief set my expectation in my income, in everything that I was doing. And so until I got the letter from college, you're gone, you're about to be history, you're going to be expelled. So then I'm applying for jobs. I'm looking everywhere. No experience, no degree, thick accent at the time. So thick, sometimes I could not even understand myself. So nobody gave me a chance. Nobody would hire me. At this time, I'm desperate. I have a young family. Gave my wife. We had
So,
gotten
so
married.
said family. So you got married and did
I got married. Now about 3 years married with Shannon. I'm still a pizza delivery driver. I had a big talk 3 years prior. We're gonna make it big. We'll travel around the world. And after 3 years of marriage, I had two jobs, Carla. I had two full-time pizza delivery jobs, and I'm looking for something at night. We made some dumb financial choices in college. I had a lot of debt. We were behind. And so my wife asks me one day, She said, we're having coffee. She said, babe, with kind of a meek voice, is this what you're going to do for the rest of your life? And that kind of burned a bit. I said, of course not. And I'm still talking big, but you and I both know we look at people's feet, not mouths. So now at this point, I'm embarrassed. I remember meeting people in church or different people that would say, what do you do for a living? And I was too embarrassed to tell them I'm a pizza delivery driver. Here I am. I've got a family. I'm in my mid 20s and I've got two full-time jobs. I actually remember at times I would bust tables in my pizza place. And I remember one time I had friends that came over and I was the only person doing dishes in the back. And I have people there and I was embarrassed to go and bust the table next to them. I'm like, and so there I said that this has got to change. Applied for jobs, found an ad, was a direct selling network marketing. It's a big company in America, financial services. I thought I was calling on a job. They said, come to the office. They gave me a bird's eye view. I go there. They pitched me the business. They talked to me about passive income. At this time, I'm desperate for anything. It's like, don't even pay me. Give me something so I can feel better about myself because I'm just a delivery driver. And they would never return my call again. They prejudged me. They thought this guy is a delivery driver, no network. We can hardly understand him. They didn't look at my heart, but they told me about the industry. So now I'm looking. And then 2 weeks later, I meet a guy from church and right place, right time. He said the right words. Well, I don't think he could have messed it up at that time, but he didn't explain. And he asked me what I did for a living. I told him I'm between jobs. How about you? And he mentioned briefly entrepreneurship, working for himself, great community, personal development, passive income, six-figure potential. If you can dream it, you can have it. And the more he shared, the more I leaned in. And then he said, you would be great at that. And I said, of course, tell me more. He said, I'll give you some information later. He changes the subject. We're in church. And I could not wait for church to be over. I go meet him again. I said, Chris, he said, I'll bring you some information later on at your house. At that time, we had DVDs. We didn't have a link. And I invited him over for a steak dinner. We didn't have much, but we grilled him and his wife a steak dinner because I had to learn about the opportunity. And that's how I got introduced to this industry.
Wow. So, and you said family. So at that time you already had kids?
Yes, married a single mom, two girls. Yeah, yeah, we had two girls, and
Okay.
no time for the family at that time. So I'm gone all
And
day.
you're still you're gone because you're working two jobs. And so somebody introduces you to the industry and you can see the passive income and you can see do the work, get that money, and then it continues to come in. So you saw that and you kind of were hungry for that. When somebody comes to you then and starts to tell you about it, you knew exactly what he was talking about and you thought, okay, here is my break. Here is the opportunity. Okay. So you get started in that. And what happens after that?
Yeah, so they plugged me into the community. They got me. I had the two jobs. I worked every night, and my sponsor was also, he was a waiter, so in and out kind of thing. But his upline was a six-figure earner. Thank God that he was strong enough to tell me what I needed to do to win. Because my advice got me stuck at that position. He said, you got to get and stay connected. We've got a big event Tuesday night. You have to come, you have to see. I'm like, well, I'm working. I said, I understand, but this path got you here. Where is it going to take you the next 5 years? I said, same place. He said, let's try something different part-time. Maybe, come get off a bit earlier. So I went to an event, a local event, and the stories, the stories are so, I mean, when I went to my first convention, I don't remember any training. I remember a few stories that touched my heart that led me to a decision. So being a good story collector and learning how to share story, I think it's powerful. But yeah, first
So
company.
you do know that you're like saying so many powerful things that you're just talking away. I mean, I'm still going, wow, I'm still back at that. Don't go by don't watch their mouth, watch their feet. So don't watch what they say, watch what their action is. I love that. And now it's again, and you had a whole bunch of them. So everybody's going to have to go back and watch this and take the notes of all the things that you're saying. So now you just said, um, as the stories are what really mattered, that you didn't hear everything, but the stories is what made you make the decision. I mean,
Yes.
you had made a decision of getting started, but when you got to this event, and I mean, that's pushing the big events, and I think everyone needs to understand how important these events are because it's many times you have the decision of getting started and you have the decision of getting started. And there's a big difference in those two. So you go to the event and now you're ready to build because you hear the powerful stories of what it had really done for people.
It was a vehicle for me. I still had the belief, can I do it? Can I not? And thank God that they pitched 4-year plan. Because if they had told me, here's what you can do in 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, when that time came out of quit, so they set the right expectation for me. We got to honor the people and do that for them. Even though I believe that it doesn't, with the right mindset, with the hunger. And by the way, how do you find hunger in people? Look at their feet, as I mentioned, by thy fruit you shall know. Look at their sense of urgency. Look at, do they lean in or are they passive? But the right person with the right mindset that makes a decision. Success is a decision. So I think 4, 5, 6 months, completely focused and doing the activities that truly matter. I mean, I've built my business in a few 90-day runs my entire career. Now, it may take years to come to the moment in time where you just decide and you get sick and tired of playing small and you get sick and tired of being afraid of what people think and who's going to ridicule you or you looking at yourself small and minimizing yourself and looking at this profession as, is it real, is it big? When you own it, you own yourself, you own your dreams, you own the company where you feel a sense of pride and honor to be a Zinzino partner, where you understand that this profession, this business is one of the purest forms of free enterprise. And where can another pizza delivery driver come in with 50,000 in credit card debt, $50 to his name, and become a multimillionaire? Pure hunger, meritocracy. So when you have that psychology, that belief, and that thinking, and you love people, maybe I'll talk about that. I think, loving people and being authentic and thinking right towards people. And I'll talk about maybe a big shift that changed my life because in the beginning I struggled so much because it was about me ranking up, me making a commission, me, to whom can I help, whom can I serve, how can I make an impact? Yes, I gotta get this, I gotta pay my bills, but it's easier. It's a motivation that never ends if it's about impact, right? But
So let's talk a little bit about building then, because you created success in other companies before you got to Zinzino. And you did that as a pretty young person with small children, a wife at home. I mean, how did you juggle that? Because some people are like, okay, how do you prioritize? How do you do it? And you talked about going in and doing some concentrated things. So you're saying, okay, I'm going to do a 90-day run in this period of time. So you're going to give extra in your 90 days and then not so much. But how did you build up? How did you build your business?
first company didn't happen. 4.5, well, 5 years, maybe a little bit over 5 years in the company didn't happen, and the rug was pulled under our feet. Most people will carry disappointment all their life. You got to be able to bounce back. It was the past. Failure is just an event, right? Not a person. So then in my second company, my mindset was like, oh my gosh, a clean slate. I get to start over. I get to start with, I'm here. It's just now I've got experience. I know a bit about the business. I had never made more than $2,700 a month in my whole life, and that was just 1 month. I actually, Carla, I'm here today because of what I did month one in my first business. You asked me earlier how, what? 2 jobs. Between jobs, I would put a flyer in a pizza box and I would invite somebody. It was very uncomfortable for me because I had no network. I knew another 10, 12, 15 pizza delivery drivers. I knew maybe a neighbor or two, and that's about it. But I decided to get out of my comfort zone. And I got this idea, I got this concept of be a messenger, not the message. Say less to more people and just invite them to take a look through a tool. Thank God for that, because if I had to present, I would have not been in. But because I did some work month one and because I made some money, I saw the potential.
Mhm.
Once I saw the potential, I leaned in more. By leaning in more, I did a bit more work. I got a bit more paid. It started building a belief. And it took quite some time to get to $600 a month in residual income as a pizza delivery driver with 2 jobs. But I remember finding one good person that was better than me, sharper, smarter, educated. When she joined my team, I gave myself permission to really think big because I realized it's not just me having to do all the work. You could be one person away from a whole new season in your life. And once she joined, she gave me the awareness of how can I attract better people than me? Yes, I don't have network. Yeah, I have a lot of weaknesses. Yes, 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 all of that. But there are good people out there who want this. So that experience was transformation for me. Had I not taken action month one, I would have thought that maybe this business is not for me. I'm not cut out for this, which helps me bring it home that anytime you bring somebody on board, gosh, I mean, the focus is how can you get them into one activity? I mean, they can learn everything. They can read the websites, the comp plan. They can do 80, 90% of the stuff that we do. But if they neglect having a conversation, reaching out to somebody, they will be stuck. They won't move the needle. But if they forget all of that, they may have 2 jobs or no time. And if you can help them, well, you'll teach them that, hey, we'll learn that. But who do you know that maybe I can share about the Omega story? Who do you know that maybe we can get on a three-way call and I can give them a bird's eye view? Who do you love? Whom can you introduce me to someone? And I'll honor them and I'll just give them a bit of information because you never know who's looking for a health breakthrough or maybe for an extra paycheck. And
Yep.
if I brought you in today, before you get your package, my focus is on talking to a few of your people.
So we know how prospecting is important to this, where you got to get out of the comfort zone and talk to people. And you didn't know people. So you had to really get out of the comfort zone to contact people in general. So I mean, and you are like the prospector. You have sponsored a lot of people. You have put a lot of people in the business. So as I'm understanding what you're saying it's your mindset of how you can help them, but you have to get up and get out there, right? Andy, you have to get up and make the phone call or make the contact or go and speak to people. And there's so many people that are so scared of doing that. So what would you say to those people who know what's holding them back of contacting the people or needing to find other people to talk to? Like they don't have other people. They are like you. They don't know who to contact anymore. What would you say they need to do?
Yeah, so great question. What got me over the line with the fear of everybody here, that's what's holding you back. either fear of what people think or what they're going to say. I mean, they got to be that kind of thinking or that kind of fear. It's got to be subordinate to your dream and goals, right? The more clarity you have about that, the less it matters. But here is what made a big impact in my life. My first company, the product was a dental plan, was a discounted dental plan, $19 a month, $20 a month. And I've always approached people respectfully. I never corner people and always give them an exit, a way out. So I had this flyer and I'm checking out at a store. Once, always smile, pleasant, that's important, right? And then I give this lady the flyer. I say, ma'am, in case you know someone who may need a good dental plan, would you be so kind to pass around my flyer? I'd love to help them. This lady, Carla, bless her heart, she looks at the flyer and smirks, smiles with a bad attitude, and then she's got broken teeth, rotted teeth. Her mouth looked really bad, but with an attitude, she hands me the flyer back. And she said, "Sir, I do not need a dental plan." It stunned me a bit. And I took the flyer, I said, "No problem." I took the flyer. I'm walking down to the car and I am smiling and chuckling, thinking, do you have a mirror? Have you seen your mouth lately? But I get in the car and it dawned on me. There is a big difference between need and want. She needed a dental plan. She didn't care about her mouth. She needed a solution. She didn't care. So right then I realized that people don't necessarily say no to me. They say no to their dreams. Now I can get better and maybe finding a need, maybe scratching it a bit, helping them feel it, and then presenting what I have as a solution and completely not being tied emotionally to the outcome. Most of us are afraid of inviting because we put so much pressure on ourselves of having to produce, having to sponsor somebody, enroll somebody, but I could care less. I mean, I do care, but it doesn't matter to me. I understand the law of averages. And I know that if I talk to 10 people, half the people get it, half the people don't. And I am so unemotional to the outcome. And to me, it's such a sorting through. Now, if you get more authentic and if you lean in, thinking, if you stay in a curious state, and you really focus on making a friend and helping a friend and providing a solution, or you get on their side of life and look at their problem and their dream from their perspective, or you're just pointing at a solution unattached from the outcome, the business becomes fun. And every one of you here, every one of us already knows how to recruit, already knows how to get a customer because we do it every single day. We recommend a restaurant, a hairdresser, a dentist. We recommend a show. We recommend a movie. Every one of us recruit for other people. Where it comes to ourselves because of certain belief and not putting things in perspective, now we hold ourselves back.
I get that. And it's so important that people listen to that. And maybe you need to go back and record that so you can hear it every day yourself, so that you can don't worry about the outcome, worry about what your job is to talk to them about what you can do to help them. And especially in Zinzino, we can help them. Okay, now you're building the business and actually you get some success in that. Now, is your second company Zervita, or did you end up in another company?
No, Zervita, I'm in it to win it. I stay in for life. And
So
I was
Zervita
in
was your second company that you're talking.
second
Yeah.
second company, had some success first 90 days, helped me see the big picture. Our company went from services to health and wellness, and the team I built. And that's why sometimes it's not a good idea to join a brand new company. Zervita was like brand new when I was there day one. Oh my gosh, the first 3 years was going through the desert trying to find the identity. It was well, it was a true roller coaster, and so knowing what I know today, I don't know if I'd ever do that again. But so I had some success. Company would change things, lost it, success, lost it, and then 2010, 2011, I am in a worse financial situation than I was when I joined the industry. Now
Okay,
I owe
so
money to IRS.
let's just clarify this. Okay, so you get into Zervita as your second company, and it has that stability for you, and it has great things going on, and you got some. I mean, I've met a lot of people in your team, and they are incredible. I mean, we love them, and they're so much family. But I think too, because you had learned that the integrity and the character and your intention is so important of what you want for your customers and partners, that is what drove Zinzino to have success. And then some things happen, and we had that in Zinzino too. But you had developed a culture in the company, and you had started to really get success. And I know that you and Shannon are good with money, and you knew what to do with it, so you kept things going. But then Zervita started to have some issues, you said, and you actually got down to the point where you were worse off than when you got started.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
be
So
true?
in 20,
We know where
yeah,
you started from now, dear. We know where you started from. We know that you were in all these jobs and pizza delivery and things like that. And you had even more struggles then?
yeah, you got to build yourself, man. I mean, best investment you can ever make. Learn the skill, get stronger in your belief, in your thinking, because every one of us is meant to soar, and an eagle will put its trust on the wings, not on a branch of a tree, right? And so I'd learned the skill at this time, and the skill was how to meet people, how to make a friend, working a list, learning how to invite, how to follow up, how to present. And the skills were basic, right? You just got to do it over a period of time. And then, so 28, 29, 2008, 2009 success, lost everything again 2010, 2011. Our company brings the product Zeal in 2011. And that's what made the biggest difference. At this time, though, I am stuck. I am in my knees. I owe money to IRS. I was behind my taxes, more debt than before.
And
And now
how long had you been in direct sales at that time when,
9 years,
wow.
uh, 8 years, 9 years. So that's why I tell people I'm a 9 year overnight success story. It took me 9 years to build a six-figure passive income, to get to 9,000 a month. But then the 10th year it got to 60, the next year got to 90,000 a month, right? But
Whoa!
uh,
I mean, it's good
but
for people to hear that you could go from that, and the next year it can, I mean, that is when you see this curve of things, you are the story of that. And yet, I noticed here Daniel writing, saying that it is so great to see how humble you are, the integrity, the character, but also I love that, Daniel, the word humble. You've learned that, putting it all through the ringer and yet coming out and having success is so powerful. Okay, so now you get to 50, 60,000 a month. Whoa, now what?
yeah. So what made the shift, first of all, what made the difference there when I hit the rock bottom? Often people hit the rock bottom, they do nothing. They don't go to an event. They tend to get on their knees and they just hide from everybody because that's what makes sense. You don't want to be exposed. This is when you need the team the most. When you're down, you need the team. If you're fired up, the team needs you. So in 2011, I went to the mastermind event, Carla. 2011, rock bottom financially, questioning the industry, asking myself, can I do it again? You ask the wrong question, the answer is irrelevant. I'm like, can I do it again? I had some success prior, but I had bought a ticket prior. I bought a ticket a year prior. I already had the ticket, and there was four or five of us, four or five guys. I'm like, let's go. We went to the mastermind event, and that weekend truly changed my life because at that event, so I was a perfect candidate for a breakthrough. Rock bottom financially, couldn't go any lower. I'm 2, 3 weeks away from losing my home. My credit cards weren't working. So I'm there. I get inspired. And then I was stuck in a story. All of us are stuck in a narrative, right? And I offered to buy lunch to one of the presenters there. He was so impactful to me, Richard Blissbrook. I want to introduce myself. I said, Richard, can I buy you lunch? And he said, yes. I took him out for lunch, praying, please, one of my credit cards work, please. And they did work, luckily. And Richard broke my story that I was stuck on. So he destroyed that story. And then the third thing that was like God sent for me, Sunday morning, I'm leaving the event inspired, excited, in a different frequency, in a different, I was able to compartmentalize my challenges and my bank account. Now I've got a different vision. I'm leaving the event, and there was a guy right there that that I knew. And last time I had seen this guy, he had lost everything. He was broke. I had dinner with him a few years prior. He was broke. He was struggling at this event. He had a nice suit, nice watch, alligator shoes. We got to talk, and he said, yeah, I'm back in the increase again, 60,000 a month. And I said, Chris, I love you. I don't believe you. Show me. He showed me Carla, and he was earning over 60,000 a month. And I am just dumbfounded. I didn't think that money was available or was possible. And I said, Chris, what changed, man? A few years ago, we had dinner, and you were struggling. You lost your car. You lost everything. He said, Andy, I dreamed again. I dreamed again. I got tired of saying no to my kids and my wife and playing small, that just pierced my heart. And he put his big old hand on my shoulder, and he said, "If you can put behind everything you've been through, and if you can get excited one more time, believe one more time, dream one more time, and stop playing small, go make this the best year of your life." That was God sent to me. Right then, I said, I'm going to be over 30,000 a month. Now, I had never made more than, I'd made seven, eight, but never passive, a bonus here and there. So I just said, I'm going to make over 30,000 a month. And Carla, 90 days, I think one of my friends here, Chris Smith, is here. I come back from the event. I told Chris, I told my team members, I didn't know how it was possible, but I had such strong belief. And I said, I'm going to tell 100 people where I'm headed. And every conversation, my faith got stronger. And, in a few short months, I was over 40,000 a month. And that's how the breakthrough happened. And last thing that I did was I shifted my focus from me getting, when you get to the low, it humbles you. Maybe sometimes they're God sent because they're meant to teach you. And up prior to that I had a lot of ego. It's a work in progress, right? Which is a lot of insecurities. That's all they are, ego and fears and all that. But I had a shift here because I had hit the rock bottom. I was able to understand people that were struggling, and I said, "This business is about people, man. It's about making a friend and whom we can serve." So my focus went from me getting to me giving. It became so much fun, and that year truly became the best year of my life up to that point.
It was all a seminal moment when you started to dream bigger. And, Hilda says it all the time, dream 10x bigger, and because it almost has to be almost a little scary for you before you can actually start moving towards it. And the more you can see it and visualize it, and like you were saying, I'm going to have this, this is where it's going to go. And you shared that. You had a vision big enough for everybody in your team to get their goals too. So it's a powerful thing to make sure you don't dream too small, because then who can have bigger dreams? They're not going to fit in your vision for where you're going. So I think that is one of the things that made it powerful. And not only that, I think I have an incredible respect in a different way for Shannon. She went through the ups and downs with you and the different beliefs. I just want to hug her and say, you kept on believing in your husband. How incredible is that? Okay, but now you're having success in Zervita. You guys were killing it. And by the way, I'm so thrilled Peach is back in the back office because that was my favorite of Zeal. And so that's one of the things that get super exciting, getting so much because you got products that really you can believe in and market. Now you're having success. So how did you go from having success? Now you're doing 40,000 a month until you have the struggles and end up in Zinzino. We need that bridge now. Where are we at here?
Yeah, so you know the phrase when the tide goes out, you will see who's been swimming naked, right? So
I
COVID.
have never heard that. That is
Well,
not what I heard, but I heard it now. And it actually reminds me, Ricardo is writing, every sentence you tell is a life training quote. We could use every quote you say. Everything you say is, and I'm like, I have the same thing, Ricardo. I'm trying to follow along with all of this. I'm going to have to go back and you could take your sentences and put them on the walls everywhere. You must have done a lot of personal development along the way too, because as you said, you went from the ego down to this humble person, and I think your faith has also been a big portion of guiding you along, and the struggles are important. Okay, so let's go from all of this to Zinzino.
the, the,
What was that?
the partners of the company parted ways. A new CEO came, he left, he tried to change the culture. Good builders and leaders, they uphold culture. That wasn't a great experience. And then COVID hit, and we're just a few people left. They raided the company, and then COVID helped a few companies, hurt a few others. And so we were just, I mean, we were struggling. We were just basically treading water, and that was a few years of struggle. And what happened was, after 4 or 5 years of going backwards, I mean, I unplugged. I Unplugged was just a season. And by the way, life and business, Jim Rohn said once, is like the changing of seasons. You cannot change them, but you can adapt yourself. You can change you. So it wasn't a season of building for me. It was a season of I had brand new twins. Company was struggling. I lost faith in my business. I lost faith in myself. I truly did. And I thought I was one of the strongest guys I knew. Happens to the best of us. I unplugged, and we had no help. Twins during COVID. By the way, they came after
So,
20 years.
you're meaning that you unplugged. You stopped being.
I stopped building.
You
I stopped
stopped
building the
building. You
business.
stopped doing
Stopped
the thing.
building. I stopped
Okay.
doing the thing. And then during COVID and with the twins, we had no babysitters. My son was hooked up to a monitor. You had to watch him 24/7. His heart, like he would stop breathing. And then I had, couldn't have any babysitters. I felt like a single dad. Mama had a baby. I had a baby. By the way, the twins came after 20 years marriage. Made no sense in the natural, but I truly believe in miracles. So twins came, struggles in the business. I unplugged. 1 month, 1 year turned into 4 or 5 for me, and it truly messed with my head. Yeah, I was good with the money. Yeah, I never forgot where I came from. But at this time, you have certain blueprint in your heart, and the blueprint was, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm meant to give. To whom much is given, much is required. I have certain gifts. If you work on your gifts, they'll make room for you, and they're there so we can make an impact. But I didn't have it in me to relaunch. I mean, this is, what you see is what you get with me. The truth, all the truth, nothing but the truth. I believe in complete transparency. And I didn't have it in me to relaunch my business where I was in and love the people. Our CEO tried so hard, put his own money. We were just in trouble. We were treading waters. And I thought, I asked my wife one day, and I'm miserable at this time. I'm depressed, I'm struggling. And I asked her, baby, if we can do it one more time, if we were to do it one more time, which one is the company that, because I believe build it big, build it once, build it to last a lifetime. Who wants to launch and relaunch? I don't like that. I want to enjoy my family, the time, and just build it one more time. And the answer after, and I've been around the block, I know a lot of companies, the answer was absolutely Zinzino. I mean, I've been a customer of Zinzino for 6, 7 years prior to earning my very first dime. And so, Carla, I flew to Sweden. I flew to Norway on my dime, on my time. I've been friends with Arjonik for 15 plus years, with friends with Orion and Hilda. Heck, I learned the business from them. I love them, I trust them, but I have a reputation in business. I have, my belief, my calling. So I went to Norway looking for red flags. I said, okay, I'll put the friendship aside. Okay, I trust them. Okay, I love the product, but let me find some red flags. I started questioning my critical thinking skills. And after doing a lot of due diligence, I'd introduced the owner of our company. And bless their heart, they tried, so hard, but the field disengaged and, all the time and the COVID and our infrastructure wasn't there. So I introduced the owners and we just helped facilitate the merger. And I didn't get one partner. I didn't get one customer. I just wanted my entire company, all my friends and people I love that are a part, they're family to me. I wanted them to have a home for life because this is the company I trust my children and their future to, I'm building a legacy company. So leaving Zervita wasn't the answer. That would have not been the right thing. And I may have hurt some people. And so this is now, I have a clear conscience. I sleep well at night. Clear conscience is a soft pillow. Now all of us have a beautiful home. And I am grateful for you, Carla. And I mean this with all my heart. There are so many Zinzino leaders that have opened the door. I mean, I've called you for so many questions. I'm like, Carla, how about this? Carla, how about that? And you'd call me, I'd pull over and take notes. I came and flew to your super Saturdays a couple of times. I was hungry to learn, and you have no financial connection to me, but your heart, your integrity, and your love for the marketplace and for your whole company shows the leader that you are, and so many of the people here. So we're grateful that you guys have paved the way for us, and it's an honor for me and for the team to be a part of the Zinzina Familia.
I think family says it all, and thank you for that. It's so sweet. But I think, like when we had the first meeting where Zervita and Zinzino was together there, I said, it's kind of feeling like we're having this wedding party where, two become one, and you've got the bride's family and the groom's family, and they're going to become one big family. And the fun thing is, they could have two different cultures and they could be two different people and it might be a little bit struggling, but the the integrity of the Zervita people also and the the humbleness and the hunger and yet in such a good empowering way, it just matches so well to this one team. Let's build this together because your success, Andy, grows around the United States is going to help our team too. So how we grow and and we've got 8 billion people in this world. So to be able to say, let's build this as one team and root each other on as one team, we're not competition. We are one team. I think that's super powerful. But I want to go back to something because there's a lot of companies. I mean, Zinzino's bought 6 companies the last year, and you sought them out. You knew the founders, you knew Art Jonak, so you knew our president of North American operations and the type of incredible man he is. You knew Orion and Hilda and the people they were. They're faith-based people who are really building this with integrity, and they are builders also. But a lot of people are probably worried about, can you really have a legacy company? We've heard other companies just in the last year that close, or like you've had it itself was just wiped out from under their feet. And some of them have had billion-dollar businesses and have it wiped out from them. How do you see Zinzino in that? How do you see the difference of that being the long-term legacy company?
Oh my gosh, I love the problem the company is solving. I love the product. It's a product that I would call my mom and say, Mom, I know your money's tight, but you need it. As a matter of fact, I buy it from mom and dad. I'll always buy it. And so I love the product. I love the ownership. I love their hunger. I love the technology, the management team, global market, 50 countries plus, and pre-launching a few, launching 4 to 6 new countries every single year. Something so special, so unique, and the timing for all of us. You know what? 200 million plus dollar company, global. I truly believe this will be one of the biggest companies in the entire industry, and they really have the shot to be the number one company in the entire industry. So every ounce of me believes at the core that I'm building something that I will leave to my children's children. I love Orion. I love the management team. I love what they stand for, the beliefs, their methodical plan. And there will be so many people down the road that are going to wish they were a part of this company back in 2025. Look at our Carla, you have seen the growth, you have seen the customer base. The company is doubling this year. And so the timing couldn't be any better. I believe it's the strongest opportunity in the entire industry today. It truly is.
And it's fun that you came knowing that this was the right company and the long-term company, and you're not in any fear. You know you can trust Zinzino as a company. So let's talk about the last thing. The last thing on our agenda for today is future. Where do you see Zinzino going here in the future? And maybe for people who are looking at this video as just looking at Zinzino as an option for them. What do you see Zinzino as a future? What's going on?
Zinzino has multiplied a few times since I became a customer. I loved my business then. I had my whole family and my team, and watching and loving the product, one of the most unique products in the marketplace, and it truly works. And it's attracting the doctors. Talking to Stuart Tomk, by the way, the previous. Sales officer, chief sales officer for Nordic Naturals, and getting his perspective how unique the product is, and how the only reason he came on board is because of the product and the testing and how it will change the world. Oh my gosh, Carla, this company, when it doubles this year to 1 million plus customers, and I still think the real momentum, especially in North America, we're maybe 3 years away, maybe 4 years away, even though we were doubling and tripling here. The future is truly brighter than ever. Having understanding Orion's vision of 100 million customers by 2050. And again, I've known the guy for 10, for 15 years, really close, and seen his vision come to fruition. The next 5 years and the next 10 years, and hey, we will have over 1 million customers. So we have something so special. It's making such a big impact in people's lives, and true disruptive technologies. And the blood doesn't lie. The blood doesn't lie. I think this is the number one brand right now. People have not found out about this yet. So here is your chance, every single one of you. You truly are at the right place at the right time with the right people for the right reasons, with a legacy company. And now it's between you and I to catch on that vision and forget our past, shake our dreams up, and let's go make an impact. When we share Zinzino, we share hope. I can tell you, and you guys know better than me because you've been here longer, but so many stories in such a short period of time of people having huge health breakthroughs. And so we're making a big impact. You're doing work that truly matters.
That's the boom ending. If you, that is powerful. Andy, it has been so much fun to interview you. I have been so looking forward. I talked about interviewing you for so many months. I'm like, we just gotta get you in Zinzino first. I want you on here once we get it started. And I have been so looking forward to it because, as you said from your first event, The stories are what made an impact. And I'm hoping that this is going to go viral. For those of you who are watching, let's send it to people and see what can be. For the vision for somebody who hasn't been a part of direct selling, to see the success you can have. You can get that income if you do the work. Or for the people who have been going through ups or downs, to believe in yourself because you can do it, because you are at the right place and the right time with the right company and the time to do your action. We're not going to listen to what people, we're not going to watch the mouse, we're going to watch the feet. I'm going to have that in my head forever now. Andy, thank you for your time. It has been so much fun. And like I said, every single sentence you say just is so powerful. It's just wonderful. So thank you for being here.
Carla, I love you. I love you guys. Thank you for having me here. The future is brighter than ever. I'm excited.
And I'm going to let everybody unmute and we're going to say goodbye and we'll see you next week. Thanks so much, everybody.
So much,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you.
so much.
See you in Houston.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Andy.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
You're a
you,
blessing
Andy.
as always.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.